When I woke up, I had no clue where I was.
The ceiling was white, the lights were white, the walls were white.
The air smelled like disinfectant and medicine, with that cold, lifeless feeling of a hospital. I tried to move. There was an IV taped to the back of my right hand, the clear tube running up to a bag hanging above me. The fluid dripped down drop by drop, like time itself was counting down my life. The heart monitor beeped in my ear, each beep like a little hammer tapping against my temple. I tried to remember what happened last night. No, not last night. It was the night before. Actually, the night before that, it had been a whole week. Adam's face. I tried to piece together the fragments. He said, "Penelope, I don't love you anymore."
Penelope, I don't love you more.
He said it while he was eating the birthday cake I'd made him.
That smelt lies medicine than framed. It was a 6-inch strawberry cake that had taken me all afternoon.
I'd baked the sponge 3 times before getting it right. The first was too dry, the second too wet, the third just perfect.
I whipped the cream for 15 minutes until it was light and fluffy. I sliced the strawberries thin and pressed them around the sides, like a little red dress. I stood in the kitchen, looking at that cake, and thought, I did it. The perfect cake. The perfect birthday. The perfect fiancé. Then Adam showed up. He sat down and took the first bite.
He chewed a few times, swallowed, and then he said it. Not, "I love you." Not, "Thank you for making such a beautiful cake." It was, "Penelope, I don't love you anymore." I sat across from him and watched him finish the whole thing, bite by bite. He didn't look at me. When he was done, he stood up, walked to the door, put on his shoes, pulled it open, and left. I didn't chase after him. I just sat there, staring at the empty plate. There was a ring of cream left on the plate, like a mouth laughing at me. Sweet. But my mouth tasted bitter. Then I opened the fridge. Half a cheesecake from last week was still there. I took it out and ate it all. Then I opened the freezer. 2 cartons of ice cream, still there. Took them out and dug in with a spoon. 1 strawberry, 1 chocolate. Finished them. Then I went to the cupboard, found a bag of chocolate cookies, and ate those too. And then I threw up. Not on purpose. My stomach just couldn't take it. After I threw up, I ate again. For 7 days straight. I ate nothing but sweets, nothing else. Cake, cookies, ice cream, donuts, macaroons, pudding, you name it. But I didn't want to stop, because if I stopped, I'd think about Adam, and if I thought about him, it would hurt. And that hurt, it wasn't my stomach, it was my heart. It was the kind of pain you feel when someone reached into your chest and ripped something out.
On my second day in the hospital, my primary doctor, Dr. Patel, stood by my bed with a clipboard, her face serious.
Penelope, do you know what condition you were in when you arrived?
Not really.
Your blood sugar was 3 times what it should be. Your pancreas was acutely inflamed. Your stomach lining was severely damaged. If you keep eating like this, you will die.
I didn't say anything. The sunlight outside was bright, hitting the white sheets and making me squint.
I looked into her eyes.
Do you want to die?
I don't know.
Dr. Patel was quiet for a few seconds. She did something doctors rarely do. She got down to my level.
Penelope, I've seen a lot of people hurt themselves over a breakup. Some cut their wrists, some jump off buildings, some take pills. You're the first person I've ever met who ate so much whipped cream she landed in the hospital. You know what that means?
That I'm crazy.
It means you're a pastry chef. Even when you hurt yourself, you use the thing you love most.
My tears started falling.
Not because I was sad, but because she was right. I love desserts.
I baked my first cookies at 10, made my first birthday cake at 12, got into pastry school at 18, and opened my own dessert shop at 22. My life has nothing else, just flour, sugar, cream, and eggs. When Adam left me, he didn't just take himself. He took my desserts. Because when he ate my cakes, I felt like what I had value. When he stopped eating them, I felt worthless. Dr. Patel, can I still make cakes?
You can't eat sweets right now, but nobody's stopping you from making them. Make them. Give them to other people.
I closed my eyes. Give them to others.
On my third day in the hospital, Yelena showed up. She worked at my shop and was my only friend.
Penelope, you look like death. Thanks. What'd you bring?
A change of clothes. That outfit you've got on is done. She put the bag on the chair, sat on the edge of the bed, and looked at me. Adam's with that woman now. Her cake shop. Her eyes were red, but she didn't cry.
What cake shop? My hand gripped the sheet.
What cake shop?
His new girlfriend opened a cake shop. It's called La Dolce Vita. You haven't heard of it?
No. But I knew Adam didn't know how to bake. He had to look up how to boil an egg. He found a pastry chef, a woman who makes cakes. He didn't want me anymore. He wanted someone who does the same thing I do. Not because he fell in love with someone else, but because he fell in love with my job. But that person wasn't me.
Yelena handed me her phone. See for yourself. On the screen was La Dolce Vita's Instagram page. The profile picture was a perfect strawberry cream cake. The latest post was a photo with the caption, "Every cake is a gift of love." In the comments, Adam's profile was the first one. "This is the best cake I've ever had." My heart felt like someone was squeezing it, not pain, just a suffocating tightness. The kind where you can't breathe. Yelena, take the phone away. No. You look at it. That woman is not worth you hiding in here. Your cakes are 1,000 times better than hers.
How do you know?
Because I've eaten your cakes. And I've eaten hers. Her cakes are beautiful, but they don't taste good. Too sweet. Your cakes aren't perfect, but they're delicious. I opened my eyes and looked at her.
You said my cakes aren't perfect?
You think my cakes aren't perfect? Your cakes are never perfect. Your chiffon cakes collapse all the time. Your frosting sometimes uneven. Your strawberry slices are thick in some places, thin in others, but they taste good. Really good.
I was stunned. No one had ever said that to me before. Everyone always praised my cakes for being beautiful, perfect, flawless. But Yelena was telling the truth. My cakes really aren't perfect. Those imperfections, I'd always tried to hide them.
I'd cover the collapsed spots with cream, hide the uneven frosting with fruit, dust powdered sugar over the bumpy surfaces. I spent so much time turning imperfect cakes into perfect-looking ones. And then I'd tell everyone, look, my cake is perfect. But it wasn't true. On the day I was discharged, Yelena came to pick me up. She drove, and I sat in the passenger seat. Outside the window, Chicago was people bustling up and down the streets. Bakeries had croissants in their windows. Coffee shops had lines out the door. Flower shops were bursting with blooms. Everything kept going. Only my world had stopped. What are you going to do now?
Go back to the dessert shop.
You sure? That place is full of memories of you and Adam. Can you handle it?
I'm sure. I don't have anywhere else to go. The dessert shop was mine, The cakes were mine, the customers were mine. On paper. Adam was just help with deliveries sometimes, but after the breakup, he said the shop was ours. He said he wanted half.
I said forget it. I didn't want the shop, didn't want the money, didn't want anything. I just wanted to leave that place, those people, those memories. The car stopped in front of the dessert shop. I got out and stood on the sidewalk, looked the sweet room. I'd come up with the name, designed the sign, painted it myself. Every table, every chair inside, I'd put them together with my own hands. Now it was his. I turned and walked away.
Penelope, where are you going?
I don't know. I walked one street, then another. Past a bakery with croissants in the window. Past a coffee shop with a long line. Past a cake shop, La Dolce Vita. I stopped. In the window was a strawberry cream cake, just like the ones I made. No, not just like. My cakes are alive. This one was dead. It was perfect, but boring. It was smooth, but soulless. It was a copy, not a creation. I stood there looking at it for a long time. So long that someone came out. A woman, blonde, tall, wearing a pink apron. This was Sophia, Adam's new girlfriend. I'd never seen her in person, but I'd seen her pictures on social media. She was even prettier than in the pictures. She saw me, froze for a second, then recognized me.
You're Penelope?
Yes. I'm sorry too. Sorry for what? Sorry you came to a shop that only knows how to copy. Her eyes glared at me. Her mouth opened and closed like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out.
Penelope, you're just jealous.
I didn't look back. Jealous? Maybe. But I wasn't jealous of her. I was jealous of myself. The version of me who used to love baking, who wasn't afraid to fail, who wasn't afraid of things collapsing. The version of me who wouldn't give up everything for a man. Where did that Penelope go? I walked for a long time.
But I couldn't let it beat me. Because I still had Yelena. I still had flour, sugar, cream, and eggs, and I still had my hands. Help me find a storefront. As small as possible, as cheap as possible, any neighborhood as long as it's far from here.
You're opening a new shop?
I'm opening a shop that only sell ugly cakes.
What kind of ugly cakes?
Failures.
There was a long silence on the other end.
Penelope, are you serious?
Dead serious.
Who's going to buy them?
I don't know. But I'm going to try.
I found a stop front in Chicago's South Side. It used to be a shoe repair shop. The faded sign was still hanging out front. The space was tiny, maybe 250 square feet. The floor was scratched and there were spill-off and the sun-polished stains on the wall poured in. But I stood in the empty space, the sun warming my skin. I closed my eyes and pictured the new shop in my mind.
No fancy display cases, no soft lighting, none of those props that make cakes look perfect. Just a wooden shelf with ugly cakes on it. Ugly. No covering up, decorating, no pretending to be perfect. Yelena helped me decorate the shop. What are you going to call the shop? Ugly Cake Shop.
On opening day, I made 10 cakes. 1 collapsed chiffon, 1 lumpy cream cake, 1 cracked cheesecake, 1 sunken pound cake, 1 burnt brownie, 1 overly moist carrot cake, 1 dry angel cake, 1 sponge that hadn't risen, and 1 Swiss roll with a wrinkly surface. 10 ugly cakes lined up neat on the wooden shelf. The card had just not perfect, but it tastes good.
Then I sat behind the counter and waited. The morning passed. No one came in. The afternoon passed. Still no one.
How many did you sell?
0.
Want me to bring some 50% off stickers?
Ugly doesn't mean cheap. Ugly is still valuable.
The next day, still no customers. On the third day, an old lady pushed the door open. Her hair was completely white. She used a cane, and she walked very slowly. She walked around the shop and stopped in front of the collapsed Shiflo cake.
Little girl, what's wrong with this cake?
It collapsed.
Why did it collapse?
Because I didn't bake it right.
But does it taste good?
Try a piece. Free of charge. I cut a small piece and handed it to her. She took it, put it in her mouth, and chewed for a long time.
It's good. Really good.
She bought the whole cake. $10. I made $5 profit. Little girl, your cakes aren't pretty, but I'll come back tomorrow. She really came back the next day, and the day after that. The day after that, she brought a neighbor. Slowly, more and more people started coming. By the 4th week, there was a line out the door, not because my cakes tasted good, though they did, but because my cakes were proudly ugly. Someone took a photo and posted it online with the caption, "This cake is as lopsided as my life." That post was shared thousands of times.
The next day, a long line formed outside the shop. People drove in from other cities just to buy a collapsed Shiflor cake. People held up their phones, shot videos, gone live, saying this is the ugliest cake shop in Chicago. I didn't read the comments.
Yelena read them and told me what they said. Some said this cake is so ugly it makes me cry. Some said, is the owner crazy? Some said, it looks disgusting. But more often it was tastes good delicious. Really made me cry. It made me feel like my own failures aren't so bad.
One day in the 5th week, a young girl walked in.
She was thin, pale, with deep dark circles under her eyes. She stood in the shop for a long time, looking at the cakes, but didn't buy anything.
Can I help you? I want to buy a cake, but I don't know which one.
Who is it for?
For myself. I'm 23 today. I have no friends, no family, no one to celebrate my birthday. I want to buy myself a cake.
My heart tightened.
No charge. Happy birthday. Why no charge? Because you deserve a birthday that doesn't cost anything. She took the box, hugged it to her chest, and cried. After she left, I stood behind the counter for a long time. I thought about my own 20th birthday. Adam was still around back then. He bought me a cake, not homemade, from the grocery store. It said happy birthday in crooked letters. But I was so happy. Because someone remembered.
Now, that girl had no one who remembered. But I remembered her. I won't forget her. I won't.
There was a man in his 40s who came every Wednesday to buy a lopsided banana break. He never said a word, just put down the money, took the break, and left. On the 7th Wednesday, he didn't leave. He stood at the counter, looking at me.
Penelope, can I talk to you for a minute?
About what?
About this bread.
What about it? I thought for a moment, then took a lopsided banana bread off the shelf, packed it up, and handed it to him. This bread is lopsided, but it tastes good. You don't have to be perfect right away. First, learn to taste good, meaning make people happy when they're around you. If you make people happy, you won't get divorced. It was the first time he'd ever laughed.
He took the bread and left. From then on, he came every Wednesday and stayed a little longer each time. Slowly, he started talking about his job, his kids, his ex-wife. I listened and didn't say much, because I knew he didn't need advice. He just needed someone to listen.
3 months after Ugly Cake Shop opened, Yelena ran in with a newspaper. She spread it out on the counter. It was the food section of the Chicago Tribune. The headline read, "The Ugly Cake Queen. She only sells failures, but she's made a name for herself." The article told my story getting dumped by my boyfriend, eating too many sweets, and ending up in the hospital, opening this shop that only sells ugly cakes. I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was famous, but because they said, just like her. They didn't say, just like her cakes. They said, just like her. They saw me, not the cakes. Me, the collapsed, lopsided, uneven version of me. That day, the shop was packed. That day, the shop was packed. A woman bought 3 collapsed chiffon cakes and said, I'm bringing these to my friend. She just got divorced. I want to tell her that falling apart is okay. I gave her an extra one for free. She said, no, I can pay. I said, it's not free. It's a blessing. Your friend just got divorced. She needs a blessing. She cried while holding the cake.
Couldn't handle helping out at the shop after just a month. Not because it was too busy, because there were too many people. Penelope, you need to hire someone. Hire who? Hire me. I'm not going back to the old shop. I'm staying here. The old shop was Sweet Dream Workshop. After Adam took over, business tanked, and fewer customers came. There's no soul there anymore. When you left, the soul left. All that's left is an empty shell. I let her stay. She helped me with the cash register, with packing boxes, with greeting customers. I was in charge of making the cakes. Ugly cakes. One after another. Collapsed, lopsided, lumpy.
One day, a food blogger came. She had 500,000 followers and specialized in visiting Chicago's hidden dessert gems. She stood in the shop, looking at the ugly cakes, pulling out her phone to take picture after picture. She bought a collapsed chiffon cake, took a bite, and her expression changed.
How did you do this? So ugly, yet so good.
Because I've been baking for over a decade. I know the race pretty can be done with molds and scrapers and spray guns. Ugly can't. Uglies on instinct.
That night, she posted a long review, saying it was the best cake she'd ever eaten. Overnight, my shop blew up.
3 days after I got famous, Adam showed up. He was alone, without Sophia. He stood at the door wearing the gray coat I'd given him. His hair was thinner than before, and there were dark circles under his eyes. He pushed the door open, walked in, looked around at those crooked cakes. His mouth twicked, but he didn't smile.
Penelope, we need to talk.
About what?
About us.
There is no us anymore. You left us back at your shop.
I was wrong. I shouldn't have been with her. She was just a substitute for you.
I looked into his eyes. Those eyes I'd looked into for 4 years. There was a time when looking at them made my heart race. Now I felt nothing. Not hate, not resentment, not deliberate coldness. It was true, total, utter indifference. Like looking at a stranger.
Adam, you didn't come here to get back together. You came here to find yourself. You didn't know who you were when you were with me, and you still don't know now that you're gone. The person you need to find isn't me, it's yourself.
Penelope, can you forgive me?
I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean starting over. It means I can let go. This is for you. No charge.
He took it, opened the box, and saw the little card. His hand paused. His lips moved a few times, but he didn't say anything. He held the cake, turned, and walked away.
The doorbell jingled, and he disappeared around the corner. Yelena came out from the back and stood beside me.
You're so generous. If it were me, I'd have thrown the cake in his face.
Throwing it would be a waste. If he eats it, at least no food goes to waste. You don't hate him? No. If I hated him, he'd be gone. If I don't hate him, he'll still be gone. So hate doesn't matter either way. What matters is that I don't need him anymore.
Sophia's shop closed.
I heard it through the grapevine. Someone told me Adam and Sophia broke up and she sold the shop. Sophia went back to her hometown and went back to nursing. She was never really a pastry chef.
She just liked making cakes, but she had no talent. She couldn't make desserts with soul. Flawless cakes were made with molds, scales, and timers, not with heart. I didn't go see her. There was no need. Everyone has their own path. Her path wasn't in baking. One day, Sophia came to my shop. She stood at the door, wearing a gray coat, her hair cut short. Looked several years older than. Penelope, I want to learn how to make cakes from before. Why? Because I don't want to make perfect cakes anymore. Perfect cakes have no soul. I want to make cakes with soul. I let her in.
She stood in the back kitchen, looking at me.
I handed her a mixing bowl. Mix the dough. Don't measure. Go by feel. By feel? I can't do that. You can. You've just forgotten. Perfect people don't mix dough. Perfect people use scales, measuring cups, and timers. Forget all that, and you'll know how.
She hesitated, then started mixing. Too much water? Add flour. Too much flour? Add water. Flour flew onto her hair, her clothes, her face. She was like a little kid, covered from head to toe. I laughed. She laughed too. It was the first time she'd ever laughed in front of me. A real laugh. Not the I'm trying to look friendly kind of laugh, but a laugh from the heart that she couldn't hold back. Penelope, I haven't laughed like this in a long time. Me neither. I haven't watched someone mix dough like this in a long time. Sophia studied at my shop for 2 months. She learned to make collapsed chiflot cakes, lopsided banana bread, and lumpy cream cakes. Her first ugly cake, collapsed, lopsided, cream all over her hands. Her first ugly cake, collapsed, lopsided, cream all over her hands. She looked at that cake and cried.
Penelope, I failed. No, you didn't fail. You succeeded. You made an imperfect cake. That's the first step. She wiped her tears, cut a slice, and put it in her mouth. She chewed, and then she smiled. It's good. Of course it's good, because you made it. It's not a copy. It's you. Penelope, why don't you hate me? Because hating you is exhausting. I'd rather spend my energy somewhere else. Like where? Like making ugly cakes. Like helping you mix dough. Like watching you laugh after you cry. She lowered her head and was silent for a long time.
Penelope, I want to go back and open a shop.
Not La Dolce Vita, a different name. No perfect cakes, just ugly cakes. Like you.
Go for it. Just make sure they're uglier than mine.
She smiled. A real smile.
Sophia went back to her city and opened a new shop. The name was Collapsed. Just one word, collapsed. On the sign was a drawing of a collapsed chiffro cake.
She sent me a photo, and I laughed. What do you think? Really ugly. Thank you. That was the first time I felt happy because someone called my ugly cake ugly.
A customer came to my shop. His name was Henry, in his 60s, a retired teacher. He came every Friday to buy a collapsed chiffon, rain or shine. One day, he didn't show up. The next week, he still didn't come. The third week, he came, on crutches, his left foot in a cast.
Henry, what happened?
Fell at home. No one knew. Laid there for a whole day.
You live alone?
Alone. My wife's been gone for 10 years. Kids live far away.
I boxed up the cake, handed it to him, and tried not to charge him.
I didn't come here for freebies. I came to buy a cake. Your cake is the highlight of my week. If I don't even pay for that, what's the point of living?
I took his money.
I stood at the door and watched his limping figure. The sun was bright. He walked slowly, but he didn't stop. He wouldn't stop.
One day, a TV producer came. Her name was Julie, in her 40s, with short hair and a sharp demeanor. She stood in the shop, looked around for a long time, then walked to the counter.
Nalapa, I'm a producer for the Great American Dessert Competition. I want to invite you to compete in the next season.
Me? The ugly cake lady?
Yes, we need contestants like you.
The other contestants make perfect cakes. I'd embarrass myself.
The embarrassing thing isn't being ugly. It's pretending you're not.
There was no pity in those eyes, no sympathy. Just one thing. Seriousness. She was dead serious. I'll think about it. I thought about it, thought it for 3 days.
Go.
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 I stood in the back kitchen for a long time, looking at the flour, sugar, cream, eggs. I thought of my mom.
Penelope, no matter what you do it with your whole heart. Being wholehearted doesn't mean being the best. It means doing it so you have no regrets.
I picked up the phone and called Julie. I'll do it. The tryouts for the Great American Dessert Competition were held in Los Angeles. I brought my collapsed Shiloh cake. At the tryouts, there were hundreds of contestants, each with exquisite, perfect, gleaming desserts in front of them. My Shiloh cake sat among them like an ugly duckling. When the judges came over, they looked at my cake and frowned.
What is this?
A collapsed chiffon cake.
Do you know the competent for perfect desserts? Perfect shape, perfect texture, perfect decoration. Your cake...
My cake isn't perfect, but it tastes good. Take a bite. The judge hesitated, cut a small piece, and put it in his mouth. As he chewed, his expression changed. From doubt to surprise. From surprise to delight.
It's good. Really good.
So will you let me in?
You're in.
The first round's theme was first love. I walked to my station and looked at the ingredients laid out. Flour, sugar, eggs, cream, strawberries. I thought about my first love. Not Adam. It was a guy named Mike back in high school. We dated for 3 months, and then he stopped talking to me. And then I made my very first cake, just for myself. The cake collapsed. The cream was lumpy, but I ate it happily. I made a collapsed cheesecake. The judges looked at it, then at each other.
Why is it collapsed?
Because first love collapses. You think it's perfect, but then it falls apart. And after it falls apart and you wasn't your fault, then they gave their scores. I made it to round 2. The second round's theme was home. I thought about my mom. She went back to Mexico when I was a teenager and never came back. I don't blame her. She has her own life, but every time I make a cake, I think of her. The first thing she taught me wasn't how to crack eggs or sift flour, it was how to mix dough, using the temperature of your hands to feel the moisture of the dough. Using the temperature of your hands to feel the moisture of the dough. Not measuring cups, not scales, just your hands. The bread came out lopsided, higher obled y side. I dribbled caramels on the lower side and sprinkled...
Why is it lopsided?
Because home is lopsided. Not perfect, but warm. It doesn't Madges took a bite and nodded. I made it to round 3. The third round's theme was failure. The other contestants' foals. Failure? How do you compete on failure? I made a collapsed souffle. The souffle puffed up high in the oven, and then, when I took it out, it collapsed into a flat disc. I put it on a plate, dusted it with powdered sugar, and topped it with a single strawberry. This is failure?
Yes. Souffle is the hardest dessert to make. It fails easily, but even failure can taste good. Take a bite.
The judge cut a piece and put it in her mouth. She chewed for a long time.
This is the best souffle I've ever had.
Not because I'm so great, but because I know that failure isn't the end, it's another kind of beginning. Before the finals, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was nervous, but because I missed my mom. I called her. She was in Mexico, where it was daytime.
Penelope, what's wrong?
Mom, I'm competing. The finals.
What competition?
A cake competition.
You need a competition to make cakes? You've been good at it since you were little.
Mom, will you come?
There was a long silence on the other end. Penelope, I don't have money for a plane ticket.
I'll buy it for you. Come, I want you to watch me make a cake.
Okay.
On the day of the finals, I stood backstage and saw my mom. She was sitting in the third row of the audience, wearing a red sweater, her hair pinned up. She looked much older than the last time I'd seen her. She waved at me. The finals theme was self. The other contestants made elaborate chocolate sculptures, fondant flowers, pulled sugar. I made a cake. Not collapsed, not lopsided, just messy. The cream was uneven, the sponge showed through, the fruit was cut into irregular pieces. But on top of the cake, I drew a cream flower, crooked and wobbly, like something I'd have drawn as a kid. Judges looked at the cake without saying a word. They took a bite, chewed for a long time.
You win.
I stood on the winner's podium, holding the trophy. People in the audience were clapping. Some were crying. My mom was in the front row laughing and crying. Mom, this is yours.
Mine?
You taught me to mix dough without a scale, to use my hands. You taught me that making cakes isn't a competition, it's about joy. She cried, like when I was little. After the competition, I went back to Chicago. The shop's business got even better. People came from other countries, from other continents.
Penelope, your cake saved me.
It wasn't the cake, it was the imperfect part of you. It's always been there, you just didn't know it could be accepted. A girl flew in from Los Angeles, bought a collapsed Shiflo cake, stood outside the shop and ate it while crying.
Thank you for showing me that imperfect can still be good.
You were always good. Not because you're perfect, because you're you.
I put the trophy in the most inconspicuous corner of the shop. Not out of pride, as a reminder. A reminder that winning doesn't mean being perfect. Winning just proves that being real matters more than being perfect.
Mom stayed in Chicago for a month. She helped me make cakes, not with my recipe, but with hers. A little less flour, a little less sugar, one extra egg. Her cakes didn't taste as good as mine, but they had her taste. That taste reminded me of being a kid.
Coming home from school, smelling sweetness drifting out of the kitchen, Mom was baking. That taste I've never forgotten.
Now, Mom is by my side. I get to smell that taste every day. Mom was going back to Mexico. I took her to the airport and bought her a big bag of ugly cakes to bring back for the neighbors. Mom, have you thought about staying?
Penelope, you're grown up. You don't need your mom anymore.
I do need you. I need you to bake cakes for me.
I'll come often, but you have to come visit me in Mexico too. I'll bake cakes for you.
Okay. She went through security and disappeared into the crowd. I stood there, clutching a card she'd left for me. I published a book. The title was It's Not Perfect, But It Tastes Good. The book told the stories of my cakes, the collapsed schiffles, the lipsquid banana bread, the lumpy cream cakes. It also told the stories of the customers who came to the shop. Their stories were even more moving than the cakes. There was an old lady who makes me feel like being old to buy a collapsed still taste.
There was a young girl who came to the shop after a breakup and bought a lopsided banana bread.
The bread is crooked, but it tastes good. My life is crooked too, but it'll be okay.
There was a middle-aged man who came after his divorce to buy a collapsed souffle.
The souffle collapsed, but it's still edible. My marriage collapsed, but I'll still live.
I wrote their stories in the book, not to get famous. It was to remember that every person is imperfect, and they are all good. After the book came out, Adam bought 3 copies. He sent me a copy, with an inscription on the inside cover.
Penelope, thank you for your cake. You taught me one thing. What matters is being real.
I didn't write back. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't need to. He was no longer important. What mattered were the ugly cakes, the customers, the stories, and myself. My apprentices kept growing in number. Sophia came every weekend. She had closed collapsed and was now helping me full-time. I don't want my own shop anymore. I want to be with you.
Okay, come. You'll be my #1 apprentice.
I'm your only apprentice.
No, you're the first, not the only.
Then came a second, a third, a fourth. They all wanted to learn how to make ugly cakes. I taught them to mix dough without measuring cups, to use their hands, to bake without timers, to use their noses,
to spread cream without scrapers, to use their hearts. They learned slowly, but they were serious. One apprentice was named Emily, 19 years old, a college dropout whose parents didn't support her baking. When she came to my shop,
Penelope, I want to learn to make cakes. I can't pay for lessons, but I can work, do dishes, sweep the floor, wipe tables, anything.
You don't have to pay, and you don't have to work. Just learn.
Why?
Because there's something in your eyes. The same thing I had back in the day.
What thing?
The refusal to give up. She studied at my shop for 6 months. Her cakes were so ugly that sometimes even I thought they were too ugly. But they tasted good. Really good.
6 months later, she opened her own shop. The name was Too Ugly. I went to her opening and gave her a collapsed shiklo cake.
Thank you, Master.
Don't thank me. You deserve it. Ugly Cake Shop became more and more famous. Someone wanted to invest and have me open a chain. I turned them down. Not because I was afraid of doing badly, but because I didn't want to change. If it got bigger, it couldn't be ugly anymore. Ugly is small, is casual, is one person. Big means standards, means uniformity, means perfection. I don't want perfection. I want ugly.
One day, I received a letter. It was from Dr. Patel.
Penelope, I watched your competition. You won. I knew you would win. Because when you make cakes, there's something in your eyes. Not technique, but heart. Heart doesn't lose.
I taped the letter to the wall, next to all those cards. Dr. Patel saved my life. She was right. I wouldn't lose. Not because I have talent, but because I'm not afraid to collapse. I started making cream flowers again. Not pretty cream flowers, ugly ones. Wobbly, different sizes, like something a child would draw. I put them on the cakes, the collapsed, lap-sided, messy ones. They matched perfectly. Ugly with ugly. Just right.
Penelope, why are your cream flowers so ugly?
Because they're made by me. I'm not perfect. My flowers aren't perfect either, but they look really good. I went to Sophia's city to see her new shop. She was doing great. The shop was packed. Her cakes were even uglier than mine, and even tastier.
Penelope, I did it.
You did it a long time ago. You just didn't know it. She cried. She hugged me and cried for a long time. The people around us stared, not knowing what was going on. They didn't know that we used to be romantic rivals, used to be competitors, used to envy each other. Now we were friends, teacher and student, family. I live alone in a small apartment in Chicago's old neighborhood. The cat is a strain I took in, orange, chubby, named Calypso, because his face is crooked.
Someone said the cat was ugly.
He's not ugly. He's just special.
Calypso lies on my lap every day, purring. When I make cakes, he squats nearby and watches. He doesn't eat them, but he watches. After watching for a while, he falls asleep. He doesn't eat my cakes, but I know he likes them, because every time he sees me take out the flour, he starts kneading with his paws.
One afternoon, a woman came into the shop. She carried a bag, and inside the bag was a box. She put the box on the counter and opened it. Inside was a cake, a collapsed banana bread, lumpy cream, messy cream flowers. Ugly, really ugly.
Penelope, I made this myself. It's my first cake.
Does it taste good?
I don't know, you tell me.
I cut a small piece and put it in my mouth. I chewed for a long time. Sweet, sour, bitter. It wasn't just the taste of the cake. It was her taste. The taste of a first-time baker.
It's good. What's your name?
Grace.
Grace, you did a great job. Keep baking. She smiled. That smile, it was the same as mine when I first successfully made a cake. Not perfection, satisfaction. That feeling of I did it. She left. I put that cake on the shelf and didn't sell it. Looking at it, I could remember her. Remember every first-time baker. None of them are perfect, but all of them deserve to be here.
Not even half an hourly edge is against bag if her cheeks flushed.
Penelope, I have Supermon Weaver's birthday, and I want to bake her ugly cake myself. But I tried at home, a batter collapsed or the cream wouldn't whip at all.
If you've got time, stay. I'll teach you when I get a moment. No charge.
Grace's eyes lit up right away, and she hurried into the kitchen.
The shelves were filled with all kinds of ugly cakes waiting to be sold. Lopsided chiffons, crooked loaves. I handed her a bag of cake flour and some fresh eggs. No measuring scale, no measuring cups. Just go by feel. Add water and flour however it feels right. There's no one perfect formula for a cake. Grace knitted the dough clumsily, flour flying everywhere, dusting her sleeves and hair. She messed up the egg whites over and over, ruining 3 eggs in a row. Frustrated, she dropped her head and wanted to toss the batter.
See, I've got no baking talent, I just can't do it.
When I first started my shop, I built it on one failed batch after another. Collapse doesn't mean ruined. Imperfect doesn't mean bad tasting.
I helped her remix the ingredients, and we watched the oven slowly heat up. While waiting for it to bake, Grace slowly opened up about what was on her mind.
She told me she used to obsess over everything being perfect. Work had to be top-notch, life couldn't have a single slip-up, the constant tension gave her anxiety. Then she came across my book, It's Not Perfect, but It's Delicious, and slowly started letting go except to hoe of that mindset, her own flaws. Baking ugly cakes was her first step towards making peace with her imperfect self.
The oven dinged. The chiffon cake came out still collapsed on one side. Grace held the finished cake in her hands, gently tracing her fingertips over the uneven surface. She wasn't disappointed. Her eyes were full of joy. It's not pretty, but it's mine. Completely mine. As evening approached, Grace packed up her cake and got ready to leave. Before she went, she left a handwritten note. I pinned the note on the wall next to cards left by other customers over the years. Then I turned towards the window display. The setting sun slanted across the shelves, where the first ugly cake Grace had brought sat quietly, surrounded by all the other oddly shaped ugly cakes in the room. The sun came up. The oven dinged. The cake was done. I opened the oven, and a burst of steam hit my face. The cake had collapsed, but it smelled amazing. I put them on a rack to cool, then frosted them one by one, not smoothing them out, shaping them, crooked, round, irregular, like clouds, like mountains, like moods. Next to each cake, I put a little card with those words on it. Not written to anyone in particular, written to everyone who walks in, to let them know it'd be eaten. No, they deserve to be loved.
To be loved, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be real.